I gotta be honest with you, something is happening at Trackhouse Racing right now that nobody saw coming, and the more I dig into it, the weirder it gets. Because for almost 2 full seasons, we've been told the same story over and over. Road course magician, oval liability, brilliant on Sunday at Cotta, invisible by Tuesday in the points. That was the narrative. That was the box. And honestly, most of us bought it because the results kept proving it. But quietly, and I mean quietly, no fireworks, no viral burnout, no shoey on the front stretch. That box just got broken, and the standings page is starting to look like somebody made a typo. 2 completely different versions of this driver are showing up at the racetrack now. And the version showing up on ovals, that's the one that should genuinely scare the rest of the garage. So yeah, we got to talk about this. Here's the thing. When Shane Van Gisbergen rolled into 2026, the conversation around him hadn't really changed since Chicago 2023. Everybody knew the ceiling, win a road course, maybe 2, light up the highlight reel, give NASCAR a marketing moment. Cool, great content, but come playoff math time, he was the guy bleeding points every single week the track turned left for more than 30 seconds. That was the actual problem, not the ceiling, the floor. Because in this sport, specialists don't win championships. Specialists win trophies. There's a difference. A guy who drops 25th, 30th, 34th on ovals can win every road course on the calendar and still get bounced in the round of 16 because the math just doesn't math. And if you've watched this sport long enough, you already know. The chase isn't won on your best day. It survived on your worst one. And quick thing before we go deeper, if you're a real NASCAR fan who wants honest conversation about this sport instead of the same recycled headlines, hit subscribe. We're pushing toward our next big milestone, and I want you in on this. So back to the floor. Last year, the floor was a basement. This year, something's different, and it's not loud, which is actually why it's dangerous. And here's where it gets interesting. Through the first stretch of 2026, look at the oval results, not the road courses. Forget the road courses for a second. We already know what those look like. Look at the boring weekends, the weekends that used to bury him. Atlanta, 6th, career best oval finish in the Cup Series. Phoenix, 11th, Darlington, 14th, Martinsville, 11th. That is 4 oval races, 4 respectable finishes on 4 completely different styles of racetrack. Drafting track, flat 1 mile, egg-shaped abrasive monster, paperclip short track. Read that list again because that list is not supposed to exist yet. This was supposed to be year 2 of the experiment. The development curve, the give him time season. Instead, the guy is sitting 14th in points, ahead of his teammate Ross Chastain, ahead of names that have been running ovals their entire adult lives. And the part nobody's really saying out loud, he's doing it without a road course win on the board yet this year. The points he's banking right now are all coming from the tracks that were supposed to expose him. That is not a small change. That is a complete rewrite of the scouting report. Now let me take you inside the Atlanta race for a second because the finish doesn't tell the story. Echo Park Speedway, redesigned Camaro, new car, new feel, the rear end loose enough that he admitted he could barely hang on to it early. He starts 28th, and right out of the gate, the thing is sliding around underneath him like it's on ice. Then comes the first slide, end of stage 2, Larson dives from the top to the bottom, right into the lane. SVG's running in, Larson spins, kisses the safer barrier, and Shane goes for a lazy, helpless drift through the front stretch grass. The kind of moment where last year you'd already be writing the recap. Promising day ruined by contact, finishes 24th, business as usual. But it didn't ruin anything, Wart. He gathers it up, comes back, 39 laps later, 39. He does it again. This time it's his own mistake. Loses grip just outside the top 10, takes another tour through the infield grass, 2 off-track excursions on a track he had openly said exposed him a year ago. And he still finished 6th. He told NASCAR.com afterward he was 4th going into the last corner. and let two guys get under him. That's the quote. He's mad about a 6th place finish on an oval. Read that sentence twice. A year ago, 6th on an oval would have been the headline of his career. Now it's a thing he's frustrated about. That is not the same driver. That is a guy whose expectations have moved. But that's not even the craziest part. The craziest part is the stage points. He said it himself, almost in passing, and I don't think enough people caught it. Quote, "We didn't really get stage points on ovals last year, so we're in a lot better position, which is awesome." That's the whole story right there, in one sentence. Stage points are the silent killer in this sport. They're how Kyle Larson wins championships. They're how Chase Elliott stays alive in bad rounds. They're the invisible currency that decides who advances and who goes home, and last year SVG was getting basically none of them on ovals. 0. He'd show up, finish 25th, leave with 4 points, and watch the playoff bubble float further away every Sunday. Now he's collecting them quietly every week. Stage 1, Stage 2, top 15, bank it, move on. That's the change. That's the actual story. Not the 6th at Atlanta. Although the 6th at Atlanta is the proof. But the structural shift underneath it, and he's not just having one good day anymore, he's having fewer terrible days. And in this sport, those two things are not the same. The second one is way, way more valuable. Now here's where it flips. Because for all of this, the floor lifting, the stage points, the standings climb, there's a question lurking underneath that nobody at Trackhouse wants to answer out loud yet. Is this real? Or is this a hot start? Worries. 7 races is 7 races. Atlanta is 1 track. Phoenix is 1 track. The summer hasn't hit yet. Bristol Night Race hasn't hit yet. Iowa, Nashville, the Brickyard. Those are still out there waiting. And those are tracks where last year the wheels came off, both literally and in the standings. And there's another layer to this. Look at the Trackhouse pecking order right now. Chastain, the guy who was supposed to be the steady veteran anchor of this organization, the guy with the playoff resume, is sitting behind SVG, 5 spots behind, 1 top 15 all year. Connor Zilisch, the rookie, is going through exactly the rookie season everybody predicted. So the team that was supposed to be carried by Chastain this year, right now it's being carried by the road course guy from New Zealand, who wasn't supposed to figure ovals out until 2027 at the earliest. That changes the conversation inside that shop. That changes resource allocation. That changes who gets the simulator time, who gets the engineer attention, who gets treated as the number 1 car. And in NASCAR, those internal politics matter way more than fans realize. And there's even more going on behind the scenes, because if this oval improvement holds, then the road courses stop being his only weapon and start being a cheat code on top of an already functional season. COTA, Sonoma, Watkins Glen, the Chicago Street Race, Mexico, those are still coming. Those are still essentially free wins on his card. You stack a competent oval program underneath a dominant road course program, and you don't have a specialist anymore. You have a problem. A real every week championship conversation problem. That's the version of Shane Van Gisbergen that would genuinely scare the playoff field, not the highlight reel version, the grinder version, the one who finishes 11th on a Sunday at Phoenix and acts like that's just the job. So here's where we leave it. The question isn't whether he can win another road course. He can. He will. We all know that. The question is the one nobody was asking 6 months ago. Has the floor actually moved? Are the bad weekends really not bad anymore? Or is the sport about to remind him, the way it reminds everybody eventually, that improvement is never a straight line? Because if the floor stays where it is right now, the playoff math works, the chase berth becomes realistic, and the conversation around this driver stops being, can he survive a season, and starts being, can he actually win a round? That's a different career. That's a different legacy. That's a guy who came over from supercars and didn't just pull off a stunt. He rebuilt himself into something the American stock car world genuinely wasn't ready for. So tell me in the comments, do you think the floor is actually fixed, or is this a fast start that summer's gonna humble? Drop your prediction down below. I'm reading every single one, and I want to hear who's buying it and who's not, because one way or the other, we're about to find out.